What's going on, everybody? It's the Bull Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about an interesting discussion that has popped up around a certain Chicago Bulls player after Marko Siminovic's fantastic debut in his second season of that summer league, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ultimately, the player that we'll be discussing is Tony Bradley, and the reason why I'm discussing Tony Bradley is that many people feel with that Marko performance that we saw in that summer league, maybe it is time for Tony Bradley to potentially get waived or bought out by the Chicago Bulls, and we can go and A, acquire another player, and B, give Marko that third choice center option. And I want to discuss both sides of the story, discuss whether or not I see it likely that Tony Bradley does get waived at some point throughout the season and stuff of that nature. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bull Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you see Tony Bradley being waived at one point or another. Now, at the end of the day, it's really up to interpretation at this point, and it's mainly just a conversation, not necessarily any sort of evidence or reports or anything like that. If there is any reports that do pop up in the meantime, I'll be sure to let you know. But this is more opinion-based from most people. And that's why I think it's important to discuss as well. Because Marko did have a fantastic game in the Summer League against the Dallas Mavericks. I think his hard work was the key reason as to why we won that game against the Dallas Mavericks in our first game. And we won in overtime as well. And it was truly fantastic every step of the way. And I personally feel like if Marko Siminovich can keep that level of performance up throughout the whole summer league, he has to be one of those members that get an opportunity off of his bench, at least in the preseason, to show what he can do. Because there's no way you can let performances like that go by and you just sit there and say, I think what we have is better than Marko Siminovich. At the end of the day, maybe it is, but you got to try and test it out at least before you just give the assumption that Marko might not be ready. I think he's shown how hard he's worked. I think he's proven himself to a lot of people with that first game. But it's important not to get carried away. He could very well have some bad games ahead. He could very well be very inconsistent. Then many people will have different conversations about Marko Siminovich. So I'm trying to be playing, I guess, a level playing field. I'm trying to be as evenly headed as possible. Let's talk about Tony Bradley though, ladies and gentlemen. That is what this video is about at the end of the day. Now, Tony Bradley did have, in my opinion, a relatively underwhelming season for the Chicago Bulls. He averaged 3 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, 0.5 assists, shooting 58.5% from the field. Didn't take nor did he make a three, and that's not something that I really expect from Tony Bradley nonetheless. But the thing I like about Tony Bradley is he is one of those perfect third choice centers in my opinion. He's a guy that's not going to play a lot, and I think none of us expect him to play a lot. And at the end of the day, there are 15 players on this team. There are going to be a couple of guys that are not going to get the minutes. So I guess the question is, would you like to see Marko as the third choice center? And with Marko being that third choice center, are you satisfied that he might not get that game time that we all want him to get? Because at the end of the day, if Marko's just going to be in the same situation as Tony Bradley, I personally do not see the point in having Marko as the third choice center unless there is an injury that is sustained by another player. If we have a fully healthy Nikola Vucevic, which we had for the majority of the season last year, Andre Drummond is a very durable guy. Both of those guys remain healthy. Then Marko's not getting game time regardless if you stick him at the backup center position. So that's where Tony Bradley is at the moment as well. And I'm sure both players would not want to sit there and not really get game time for this Chicago Bulls team. So that's really the question. Would you rather see Marko in that situation or Tony Bradley? Because in my opinion, if you could put Marko as the backup power forward or one of those positions where he can play the power forward position and maybe some of that backup center position as well, that's the best situation for Marko Siminovich on this team. It's something that Tony Bradley won't be able to do because he's a very tall guy. He did have a back injury, but his movement is not as good as Marko's in terms of the offense and the defensive end. He is a bigger body. He will be able to guard centers better than Marko most likely. But as a power forward, I think Marko can definitely shine on that offensive end as well. That's something you got to put into perspective. I'd much rather see Marko move to the power forward position and us keep Tony Bradley than us sticking Marko as the backup center position and waive Tony Bradley to go and get somebody else. That's personally how I feel at this point in time. Those things are subject to change. Those things may very well stay the same towards the end of the summer league. But I don't see a full purpose of waiving Tony Bradley just so we can put Marko as the third choice center getting little to no game time. In my opinion, if we want Marko to be given a spot on this team, he's probably not going to get in there over Andre Drummond, and he's probably not going to get in there over Nikola Vucevic. So you've got to put him as a power forward if you want to play him this season. Ultimately, the season after this season could very well be where Marko truly gets his debut as that center, the natural position that he actually plays. But I just don't feel like this season is his year in terms of actually getting a backup center position. I could be wrong, but we paid Andre Drummond. He's a veteran player. I don't see him not getting any minutes. And Vucevic, again, he's our starter. And he's going to be our starter heading into next season as well. So the backup power forward position is what I truly see. So do we really need to waive Tony Bradley to do that? No, we don't. And that's kind of that confusion. But do I see Tony Bradley getting waived down the line? Honestly, I think there's a fair chance that Tony Bradley could get waived down the line. At the end of the day, he did accept his player option. We don't actually know whether or not the Chicago Bulls want Tony Bradley on this team. They're not going to come out publicly and say we want him or we don't want him, do they? I just think it's not ethical to do that. So Tony Bradley decided that he wanted to extend his player option with this team. He wants to come back to the Chicago Bulls. I think there's a certain period of days in which we have to keep Tony Bradley, and at some point we will be able to either buy him out or waive him, and then maybe we could go after somebody else and put Marko wherever Marko needs to be to get game time. Maybe that's a solution for the Chicago Bulls. But for the sake of putting Marko as the third choice center and waiving Tony Bradley, I honestly don't see the point because none of them are going to get game time, let's be honest. It's a long season, so you might get stretches here and there from one of those guys, but none of them are going to get consistent game time, which is what Marko really needs. I'd much rather Marko be in the G League than just sitting on our bench and getting no minutes, because at least in the G League he's developing and he's playing. He's actually contributing to the teams that he plays for. So we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, in my opinion, as well. Ultimately, it's just a rumor, and no one truly knows what the actual outcome is going to be in relation to that situation. But if you're asking me right now, my answer would be I would move Marko Siminovic to the backup power forward position, and I would keep Tony Bradley on this team. I think Tony Bradley is a perfectly reasonable third choice center, and I think he could bring us some value that people might not like or people might not see as, I guess, good value. But towards the end of the season, I saw something out of Tony Bradley that I liked, and I'd like to see a full season of a healthy Tony Bradley on this team. If he gets waived, he gets waived. At the end of the day, he's low in the pecking order. It's not going to make me lose sleep over it. But I just don't see the point just to throw Marko as the third choice center. I honestly don't see the point in doing that because the exact same outcome is going to happen. He's going to be playing garbage time minutes, and he's probably going to play in the G League most games as well. There's no point in my opinion. Marko has to be a power forward this season if he's going to play for the Chicago Bulls, unless he impresses so much in the Summer League that we decide to use him ahead of Andre Drummond. And maybe that could be an outcome, but it's a very unlikely one in my eyes. I'm going to end this video here. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Let me know in the comments below if you think Tony Bradley will get waived down the line, or do you see him remaining a Chicago Bull this season? Ultimately, it's his final year on his deal, and there's a high chance he's not coming back after this season as well. So there could be an opportunity for the Bulls to maybe just get rid of a player that might not be here long term and go after someone that could help us now. I don't really know, but we'll wait and see what everybody else has to say, what everybody else has to think. Have a wonderful and safe day. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.